And in the secular realm, it's the same thing. They also return to Rome by the time that Dante says, oh, if we could only have the Roman peace again, the Pax Romana, because he lived through the Middle Ages with all the confusion, the decadence, the cruelty of man to man, the inability to deal with the plague. Clinically, probably we didn't know how to deal with it, but theologically and philosophically we didn't know how to deal with it either. Everything was seen as a judgment of God that the church pronounced. And so Machiavelli also goes to Rome intellectually and says, we will reestablish Roman militarism. We will again create the order that Plato had advocated. In order to have a society that is not torn apart by the gods, as in Troy, that is not reduced to just stones, water, air, and fire, but that allows people to be people, we've got to tell them to which group they belong. Whether it was the clergy and the common man, or the military boss, Machiavelli, and the common public. We create order in a world that God has created to be untidy. It's a word that my students always liked because I use it so often. It's an untidy world that God wanted there to be. Harmonious, yes, but untidy, not programmed, but there to be played with, to be enjoyed, to be varied, to be explored, and to be thankful for. And after the fall, something to be fought so that good would blossom, love would be expressed, justice would be something very real in the attempt to do honor to the situation and the people in it. Instead of that, it's a much cleaner cut to create a dictatorship, either in the name of God or in the name of Rome, the state. And that's exactly what you had and what we have been exposed to, in a sense, ever since. And we'll deal with that longer as we get into more into these 5 weeks together. I spoke of the fact that in the 15th, 16th century, with the discoveries of the Portuguese and the English and the Dutch and the Spanish and the Italians all around the world, news came back of ideal situations. You know, if you go from Italy or Spain and go to some South Sea island or the Caribbean, and you see luscious fruit hanging and rainforests and loud shrieking colorful birds, etc., etc., it's easy to believe that you've arrived at paradise. Mind you, as soon as you hang around for a while, you realize it's not paradise. Sort of like Gauguin when he went to, in the 1890s, went down to Tahiti because he believed that that was an ideal society, and then quickly realized how fatalistic they were and how exposed to frequent death and injustice, and complains about it in a wonderful painting that's up in Boston.